And we're live, and this is Pedro from A&P-REACTS, and I'm here with Steve from Undrask. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Pedro?
I'm good, I'm good. I like all those guitars behind you, man. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, these are, I stole Eric's little backdrop here. I'm at his house right now, so we got
the... I was going to say,
yeah.
As far as I know, you do the singing, you don't do the riffing.
Oh, you don't want me to pick one of those things up, trust me.
Unless it's to hit somebody.
This is the EP, this is the album, and that's his Jeff Loomis Challenge guitar there. So got a nice little backdrop for you. What's that?
It's signed.
Yeah, it's Keith Merrow and Jeff Loomis on his Schecter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. So let me start. Like, the first question I want to ask is, I mean, I would not have any other question to start this interview with but this one. Does Longhammer know how to party, or he's just like really bad at it?
He knows how to party for his time. He doesn't know how to party in the future here, like us regular folk.
Dude, that video is, it's absolutely all sorts of epicness as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Before we get more into the nitty-gritty of that video, I really want to ask you, will he be making more appearances in future videos down the road?
Yeah, he's our main character. He is the character of the story, the Battle Through Time story. He's actually he is the boyfriend of Eric's wife's best friend. So he's in the clique, and as soon as we thought about this video, we knew we wanted him to play it. And he's just like a 6'3", 6'4", just man child. Will do anything we say, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, like the whole character, him, the person itself, but the whole character, I think he's almost like the equivalent of John Goblikon for you guys.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we
like obviously difference in sizes.
Yeah, we talked about bringing him whenever he comes to one of our shows, maybe bringing him on stage or something. It hasn't happened yet, but I would like to do that one day with him.
I honestly think you guys should do that. You should totally incorporate him in the show. And, like, he could totally be your hype man.
Oh, yeah, he would love to do that. Absolutely.
So let me ask you about the video itself, Longhammer. How did you guys come up with that concept for that video?
Well, we knew we wanted to have the main character, which John, by the way, shout out to John. And we wanted the hero in one of the settings of one of the songs. We didn't know we were going to do Longhammer. And then Longhammer, we decided it's a lot cheaper to make a funny video than it is to make a serious one. So we decided, Longhammer it's just a huge metaphor for drinking Longhammer IPA. And we decided to just make a ridiculous video out of it and still kind of make a parody of the stories, basically.
I think it worked. I mean, if that's what you were guys going for, it totally worked. Did you guys use one of your houses for the video? Like how I'm assuming that people in the video are your friends and stuff like that. Is that correct?
Actually, a lot of the people in the video aren't our friends. Well, I mean, they are now, but at the time they weren't. We shot this on the Friday after Thanksgiving. All of our friends were out of town. Nobody was in town. And we're like, shit, we got to make this video. So the guy that owns the house, Joe, and he's a makeup artist and effects artist for the local, it's called Spooky Woods here in North Carolina. It's just around Halloween, it's a huge haunted house. It's a whole haunted area. It's huge. And he's like the makeup artist, and he has his house out in the woods, and we got hooked up with him through the director. And so we just went out to his house and they let us trash it for him.
I honestly, to me, the video, it added so much to the song. I mean, the song holds its own without the video. I absolutely love the song. I love the vocals. I love the guitar playing in the song. But that video just makes the song extremely contagious. Yeah. Because you start to feel like you're part of the story. Like you almost feel like you're a party goer, and you're kind of watching it from from a party goer's perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, I can't say we were going for that, but that's great if people can relate to that. That's awesome.
To me, I was like, man, I want to be at that party. You know what I mean? Like,
it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like there's a scene where you guys are all passed out in the living room, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you hear the two characters fighting outside, and you guys all grab your amps and your gear, and you're like running outside. I mean, like, did that filming that part when you guys were passed out on the floor, did that bring back any memories of actual parties that you guys partake?
I have been
based in reality, basically.
I've been in that position quite a few times. Yeah.
It kind of had the vibe that you guys were not acting.
No, and you know what? And Justin Reich was the director, and he's so relaxed, and he basically told us to party. I mean, and he just filmed it. He just went around filming it, told us to party, you know, act stupid, and we did that, and we were really comfortable. And everything just kind of really came naturally, and it was a lot of fun to do something like that.
So now let's talk about the band. How did you guys come to existence? Because let me ask you this: there's not. When you think of metal bands in North America, especially in the U.S., you know, your genre, your style of metal is not normally what a lot of bands tend to go for. You see more bands going for thrash metal, death metal, but you guys are more of a melodic, almost like a mellow death band, which there's not many coming from the U.S. There tend to be more coming from Europe, like where you have the Amon Amarths of the world and, you know, Children of Bodom and all of those bands. When you guys started to get together and putting a band together, how did the idea come about of which style of music you guys going to do, or that just came naturally?
Yeah, it was natural. We're all into that style of music. Daryl and Eric, the two guitar players, and me, we kind of originated, and like we all like the same bands. I mean, all the Children of Bodom, the old In Flames stuff, and you know, Eric is huge into Kalma. He introduced me into Kalma. Daryl is huge into Scar Symmetry, and he introduced me to them, and we all just like the same stuff. And this is what we were going to do. There was no thinking about it. Like, we set out to make this type of music for sure.
It was, did you guys know each other for a long time before you got together? Like, were you guys childhood friends, or just kind of one person knew somebody and then that somebody knew somebody and that's how you guys kind of came together?
A little bit. I knew Daryl, our rhythm guitar player. I knew him. We worked at the same place in 2008. And so we were relatively younger. And we knew each other and we hung out and we liked the same music. And we always said, you know, hey, we should, you know, I wish we had enough for a band, and nothing ever came of it. And then unfortunately, I got laid off there and I started working at this other place. And I get sat right next to Eric in this new place. And so we started talking about music, and he plays guitar. And I was like, hey, you got to meet my friend Daryl. And this was in 2013, the year we started the band. And I brought him to a beer festival here in Greensboro. How fitting. And they met, and they were joined at the hip after that, man. And the next morning, hungover, we started making some riffs and stuff in my apartment. And that's how it started.
Wow, really cool. Really cool. Just to think that this whole thing got started because you got laid off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the silver lining. You know what I mean? When one door closes, there's a window that opens.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad I did. I mean, I even got a nice severance package, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Your album, Battle Through Time, you guys released that album last year. What was the creative? It's just been a year since it's been out, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, just a little bit over a year. How was the creative process behind that album for you guys?
It started off as a story. So they wrote a couple. Eric and Daryl wrote like 3 or 4 licks for the EP, and we said, let's different battles. Different time periods and stuff like that, because that's what we want to sing about. It's just, we don't take ourselves too seriously. And so what's the coolest thing you could write about? Just epicness. So we did battles and we wrote that for the EP. And then when it came time to do the full album, we decided, okay, we'll take the EP and we'll just make more songs about battles. Well, we started making a lot more songs. Like, well, let's keep the EP what it is and just make a whole album of just all these different battles. And we'll have, the common hero through the whole thing, and he'll travel through time. It was just it progressed once we started the inception of different battles. It just kind of evolved that way. And Daryl would make riffs and say, okay, this sounds like medieval, or this sounds like spaceshipy, or this sounds like, present time. So we just kind of fit the songs or whatever story kind of sounded right.
So you guys basically would work on the riffs based on what he felt that the riff sounded like, you guys would then work on the lyrics for that song. Is that how you guys do it?
Yep, that's exactly how we do it.
And then the lyrics, is there like one guy in the band that like, okay, your job is to write all the lyrics, or you guys kind of sit in a room and kind of bounce ideas off of each other to see what fits to that specific song?
Yeah, like for the EP, it was mostly me and Eric, and I don't know, it was kind of stale. It wasn't really fun. We were really trying to get some lyrics out, and then all of us one night were sitting around and definitely drinking, and we came up with song ideas, like lyrics, like rapid fire. But like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it from now on. So we all get in a room, grab some beer, and write all the lyrics.
It seems like beer is your common denominator in terms of being the fuel that fires, the motor, the engine behind the band.
Yeah, for a band that doesn't take themselves too seriously like us, something like that can motivate you. Beer's a common theme, mostly because that's how I introduced Daryl and Eric at the beer fest. It's just kind of a background theme that we like to keep there because it's fun.
And now it has me wondering, was the beer the main reason why you got laid off?
No, it wasn't. That would make for.
You guys are chugging some long hammers at the job, and then get your shit canned.
No, I was a little bit more responsible in my younger. No, what am I kidding?
Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. How difficult it was for you guys to get the album released, to get the album out there, even to make the album to begin with?
I mean, we all have full-time jobs, and that's the hard point about it is we're all married, we all have full-time jobs, and so you just kind of dedicate weekends and nights and just get it and grind it. And Daryl and Eric, like I said, they're the main songwriters, and I mean, I feel bad for them for having to go through all this, and I just come in and shout some shit on the microphone and I'm done. And but it's just a long process. That's the only problem. It's just we would love to just get in the studio and take a couple months and be done with it, but that's impossible. So it just takes time. We're working slowly but surely and finishing it up.
Is it hard for a musician out there? Like it's like you said, you have jobs, and that seems to be a common theme, not just with your band, but with most bands these days, where guys have a job and then have the band on the side. Is it music these days really done for the love of the music, not necessarily for the paycheck?
Oh, absolutely. There is no paycheck in what we do. Absolutely none. It's it's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, you have to want to do it. That's the only problem. This can't be just a hobby. Hey, I like to do it whenever I get a chance. You actually have to dedicate your time, dedicate certain time during the week and on the weekends to make sure that this is other than my job, my wife, and my house, like this is the next priority for us.
So do you feel like that there's a balance there? Because at the end of the day, obviously, this is a huge part of you guys' life. Like, I mean, yeah. You guys have the friendship of all of you guys in the band. You obviously enjoy playing together, hanging out together. But like you said, there's other priorities. So is it sometimes a difficult, thing to juggle when you have so many balls in the air?
Oh, absolutely. There's times where, we three of us want to get together and, kind of meet up and go over some ideas for the new album or something. And, two other people can't make it. And the next week and vice versa, the other two people can, and these two people can't. So everybody's on a different schedule, and thank God for the internet. We're able to send songs back and forth and, ask for ideas. So that's helped out a lot. But, it's hard when other people have other priorities too. Everybody's got their other hobbies other than the band too, that they try to fit in, where they can. And, it's kind of like everybody's on a different wavelength. And, at one point, all five of us kind of hit it, and we take advantage of it. So we try to make as much time as we can.
Does that even create difficulties in terms of booking shows and tours? Because with you, all of you guys having a job, it's not like you guys can take like 3 months off and go on a tour or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't live in Europe. We can't take that much time off.
Yeah, exactly. If you take time off, you don't get paid, or you end up losing your job by the time you get paid.
Yeah, and Aaron can't get as much time off as me, or I can't get as much time off as Daniel, and we really have to. It's like we can't just take shows, on a whim. We can't take shows. Hey, next weekend, can you guys jump on the bill? It's kind of hard for us because some of us work on the weekends, some of us don't, and we really have to plan ahead. And that's been difficult when we're trying to schedule maybe some small tours or something like that. Kind of gets in the way.
Do you feel that you guys considering all of these difficulties, considering the fact that you guys have the album out, do you find that perhaps the quality of the music and the quality of the product that you guys put together at the end of the day kind of speaks for itself, and it finds a way to the listeners? Maybe not as fast as you guys would like, but it still finds its way to the listeners.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we'd like to find better ways to get more out, but you know, with all the social media stuff, a lot of bands, you have to take advantage of that. You have to take advantage of getting your stuff on Facebook, getting your stuff on all the major music outlets, and just promoting as much as you can on the internet. And I know, you know, hitting the streets and stuff is great, but you can't reach as many people as you can these days through social media. And we see it now where a lot of bands just do streaming albums and streaming songs. Some of them don't even do albums anymore. They just stream songs, and some of them are successful, some of them are not, obviously. But I mean, as long as you dedicate the time that you have to the music you're working on, people will like it. And the quickest way to spread around is word of mouth, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I discover you guys. Like, just think about it. Like, some guy kept,
Rick. It was Rick, by the way.
He kept, we started our channel back in August, July, August. And since then, he's been asking, Longhammer, Undrask, Longhammer. And I'm like, dude, you're the only guy asking for this band. How good can they be? You know? I mean, that was my kind of thought. But then I was like, okay, you know what? It's been 6 months since he's been asking every single day. Let's check it out. And then we check out the video. We're like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like, I really digged it. So, you know, to me, it just goes to show that, you know, like the word of mouth and the way social media really can have an impact on bands like yours, like channels like mine, for example, that allow you guys to then even show your music to a much broader audience. Right. So in an age where, you know, social media, it's in the forefront, either be Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Do you find for independent bands or small bands coming up, there are advantages to the world that we live in? Because like you said, it really allows you from the safety of your home, really distribute your music without actually really needing a label behind it.
Oh yeah, it's a huge advantage. Anybody with you know, any capability to make beats can put everything out there for the world to see. It's so much easier to get your stuff out there, and it's great because then, you know, the more people that see your stuff, you know, the better off you'll be. But at the same time, you know, you're getting a lot out there, and it's hard to sift through, you know, what you like or what you don't like, what's not good and what's good. And, you know, you're competing with all of it. You know, you're not just competing with bands who are, you know, at your level or whatever, but you're competing with everybody. And that's the only downside I see to social media. So that's why you kind of have to have something a little different, something that makes you stand out. And, you know, being good at what you do is great, but that doesn't always work. That doesn't always get you any recognition. And, you know, you have to hit the right, you know, things for people to see. You know, you have to be able to make it yourself stand out.
You know, what you're saying, it's really hitting home. I really believe in that. I completely agree with you. I really think that being good is just not good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, with this modern day age of social media, there's so much out there, and not all of it's good. So, you know, sometimes a good band kind of gets lost in between a lot of other bands that are not as good. It becomes almost like, for the listener, it becomes almost like looking for a needle in a haystack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But by the way, I think some of the wives of the band are watching this, and they're saying right now that they're totally fine with the Euro trip.
Yeah, our wives love to travel together. They drag us everywhere. I mean, we're not complaining. Obviously, it's a lot of fun, but yeah, they'll leave us and, you know, take a Switzerland trip if they get the chance to anytime.
I think it would be epic for you guys to do a video with the Longhammer character and the wives in a Euro trip setting. I think that would be absolutely hilarious, and I wish one day to see something like that, because I honestly think that you guys have something there, and I think if you guys you know, crafted, it could really be used as a huge marketing tool, because like you said, sometimes being good is just not good enough, and you really have to set yourselves apart. And sometimes having something like that video, for example, for me, it really set you guys apart from a lot of other bands, because it showed me like not only you guys had the talent to you know, musically, but you guys were cool people that I would want to go see in a live setting. I want to hang out with you guys. I want to buy your merch. I want to support you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on down, man. Anytime.
Well, you guys are a little bit far from me, but if you guys ever come closer to the border, I'll definitely go check out a show. That's 100%.
Yeah, we want to. We know a lot of bands around up and down the East Coast, and we're trying to maybe in the future get something up and down the East Coast, and we can go as far as Buffalo. Actually, the Last Rain, they're from Buffalo, New York, and you know, they've offered to bring us up there for some shows. So yeah, it's definitely in the works. It's in the future. Like I said, it's all about timing and what people can get off and all that, and you know, setting everything up, make sure the venues are ready for us.
Are you guys pursuing any opportunities with an established label? Because maybe that would be something that could help you guys market your product and distribute your product, maybe hit a larger audience.
Right now, we didn't get much, if anything, on our last album from the labels. We don't know what we're going to do with our next album. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of interest. I don't know if it was timing or what it was, but yeah, right now, I'm not sure what we're going to do about labels, because the problem is there's not an overlap. So there's not an overlap of doing it yourself and getting the label, you know, and being able to support yourself. It's actually a really huge gap. So in order for a label to support someone like us, like I said, we have full-time jobs, houses, you know, mortgages and stuff like that. I mean, they'd have to take a really big chance on a fresh band to be able to support them while they tour, you know, financially. So a lot of labels aren't willing to do something like that. They want a lot of bands that are very established, you know, have toured or on tour and stuff like that. It's kind of difficult to bridge that gap. That's the problem we're seeing.
Wow, interesting. And what's I have to ask you this, because I don't know much about the area where you live. So what's the metal scene like there? Are you guys, is there like a heavy metal scene in that area? Greensboro, right?
Yeah, there's actually a really big metal scene here. Metal is it's more popular than I would have thought in North Carolina when I moved here. I moved to Greensboro 5 years ago. And when we started, we weren't sure, how is this going to go in Greensboro? And then we got hooked up with a lot of bands that just took us in and showed us the ropes of the scene. And it's so much bigger than I thought it would be. And Greensboro is close enough to Charlotte that a lot of the Charlotte bands, we talk with them and socialize with them and take shows up here and shows down there. And there's bands like Blackwater Drowning from here in Greensboro, and Annabelle Lee and Kairos from Charlotte. I mean, just a bunch of friends like that we take a bunch of shows and it's great. And then a lot of these bands get to jump onto a national tour and open for them too. So it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be.
So there's a lot of, kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. Like you guys don't see each other as necessarily competitors for the same dollars, but rather if we help you reach your goal, I'm actually helping myself reach that same goal. Is that kind of how you guys see it?
Yeah, it's not competitive really. Everybody wants to play with everybody else, and everybody's really friendly, and there's not a whole lot of behind the back stuff, and if someone gets on a national tour for opening spot, we're happy for them. That's great. And if they mention us to these other bands, and if we mention these bands to the other bands, it works out really well.
I have to ask you a couple more questions. I don't want to take a lot of your time on a Saturday afternoon. I'm sure you have a lot better things to do than sit here and talk to me. Your voice. Do you do anything for your voice in order to, make sure it doesn't go haywire on you? Like you warm it up before shows? Is there anything you do at all for your voice?
It's funny. Before shows, I warm it up to the bands that go on before us, actually. So as they're playing, I'll actually, if I know their songs, I'll kind of sing their songs in the crowd because no one can hear me. And warming up your voice is really awkward. When it's a quiet room, you do some weird stuff. But you know, I could do it out in the crowd and still, you know, go out there and headbang and have fun. So yeah, there's a lot of warming up involved, and when I'm not, I try not to use my voice as much as possible on show nights. You know, when you're talking over music, it really puts a strain on your voice. So I try not to, you know, do a lot of yelling when it's loud, and you know, I try to keep, the less you use it, the fresher it is. Let's put it that way.
By the way, I want to mention something to you before. I have one more question, but I want to mention something before that to you, which is last night I went to see Bloodshot Dawn, because the reason I'm mentioning that is because you sent me a message saying, hey, make sure you don't miss these guys. They're coming to Toronto. You got to go see them. And yes. I replied, I had a ticket from the moment the show was announced. Yes. So I went to see him last night. Great show. Mm. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of that, because these guys came from the UK, but they picked up a bunch of local bands here as their supporting bands. And to see that kind of dynamic, to me, was really important, because I really felt that all the bands kind of work together. And the vibe that I got is, if one makes it, we all kind of make it by association, because if one of us makes it, that one will open doors for the others. That's why I was asking you that question. I just wanted to see if you guys had the same kind of vibe and the same kind of dynamic in Greensboro. Yeah,
it's very much like that. You know, we want to see people that, you know, we've rubbed elbows with succeed. You know, you have to be happy about that. You can't be jealous. You can't hold that against them. You know, success for somebody's success for, you know, for the scene. You know, hey, this band's out of Greensboro. Whoa, that's awesome. I wonder what other bands are out of Greensboro. So it just helps everybody if that happens.
Yeah, I totally see that. I agree 100%. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes there is.
Oh yeah.
But I totally agree with you, and I think that's the right approach to have. Mm-hmm. New album. Are you guys planning on start working on new album at any time soon, or this one is only a year old? So I mean, you guys it's still a baby, if you will.
Yeah.
So is there any plans to start, you know, creating some ideas, putting something together, or is that still like far in the distance?
Well, Daryl is a little obsessive compulsive when it comes to writing music. He started like 3 months after the release of the album on the new album. So at this point, we got most of the album written, as far as, you know, the music written. We're tweaking some stuff. We're adding drums to stuff, and we're going to start writing lyrics probably this summer. And we might be ready to go late next year, I would say.
And how is that going to be? Is it going to be another independent release, or are you guys going to try to see if you can find a label that will help you guys put the album out there?
We're just going to go like we did before. We're just going to plan on doing it independently. If something happens in between, then I don't know. We'll look at anything, you know, any type of offers, whatever suits the band the best. But as far as we know right now, we're just going to do it independently like we did before.
So my last question for you is, besides that, any plans for the rest of 2018? Are you guys having any shows coming up? Any playing at any venues, like anything at all, like any news that you want to share with the public out there?
We're trying to use most of 2018 to write, but we have a show here in Greensboro on July 28th at Shiners. And then we contacted, I don't know if he is the booking guy or what, we contacted somebody about playing the Pocono Metal Festival up in Pennsylvania, Poconos. Not sure if we're going to get on the bill or not, but that's kind of something we're trying to pursue. If hopefully that'll work out, we can get up north a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, that would be a little bit closer, that's for sure. Well, I really want to appreciate your time to do this. But before I let you go, if anybody who's watching this, where can they get a hold of Battle Through Time, where they can get a hold of you guys, your music? What's the best place for them to go?
You could go to Bandcamp/Undrask. You can go to our website at undraskband.com and hit us up on Facebook if you need to. Message us and tell us you want our stuff. Work something out.
Great. I really hope you guys make it. I really hope you guys have success. I really like your music. I really like this album. I'm really looking forward to the next one. Hopefully it continues in the same line of this one, because I really like the whole storytelling aspect of the music. I like the character. I love the character. Never mind, I like it. I love the character. I think he's hilarious. And before I let you go, I also want to give a shout out to the wives, because I'm married. You know, without them, nothing else is possible.
Absolutely.
Let's face the facts. There's a glue that keep everything together.
They support us more than they probably should, you know, and we're very grateful for everything they do. They're awesome. I couldn't do this without them for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Plus, you really don't want to say anything else because they're watching. So
yeah, they're amazing.
They have your balls afterwards.
Yeah, the most beautiful women in the world. What can I say?
You're the best. All right, Steve. Thanks a lot for your time. I really hope the best for you guys. And let me just say this: if you guys ever need any help getting anything out there when you guys working on the new album, let me know. If there's a video out, if you guys want me to do an album review for you guys, whatever you guys need from us to try to get as many eyeballs on your music and ears, you just let me know and we'll do whatever we can to help you guys out.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for the YouTube channel. I mean, that's such a big help for bands like us. Is a channel like yours with 13,000 subscribers getting us out there. I mean, I want to thank you for featuring us on that. It's been awesome.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.